Hi, everybody. This is Silvio Canto in Dallas, Texas on Tuesday, October the 19th, and welcome to our video commentary. We learned yesterday morning, Monday morning, that former Secretary of State, former U.S. Army General Colin Powell had passed away. Now, I did not know that Mr. Powell had been sick. Apparently, he had been hospitalized for several days. They said initially complications from COVID. I think it was more than that. That he had other problems as well, and I guess it just kind of all came together, unfortunately. And he passed away. He was 84. Now, I've always had a very high opinion of Colin Powell. This is a man who was born in 1937 in New York City. His parents were Jamaican immigrants. Young Colin Powell, I think, was raised correctly by his parents. He eventually ended up in the U.S. Army, eventually in Vietnam, where he was wounded twice. He became an officer, and he rose in the ranks because I think people saw that he was a talented man. Somewhere along the line in the early 80s or the late 70s, he came into the circle, the national security circle of President Reagan. He was national security advisor, as I recall, and eventually, once again, a military role where he became the first African-American chief of staff of the U.S. Armed Forces. And that's the role that we remember. That's how a lot of us got to know him during the Gulf War, where he would do these press conferences with Secretary of Defense Cheney, and they would talk about the war and all of that. After the Clinton presidency, he was selected by George W. Bush, the second Bush, to be Secretary of State, and that's what he did. Eventually, he left that position, and that's when some of us were a little bit disappointed with him because he endorsed Barack Obama for president over his friend John McCain. Never understood that. He never explained it correctly, but nevertheless, that is what happened. And Colin Powell had been pretty much out of politics, I would say, for the last 10 years or so. But I think overall, you have to give him a pretty good grade. And you have to say this is a man of consequence, whether you agreed with him 100% or whatever. This was a consequential man, the kind of man that I think was helpful for the country, and clearly a man who was a great role model. And this is, I think, the important part. I think he was a great role model for young African Americans that you can succeed in the United States if you simply apply yourself and do the hard work. You can succeed. And all this stuff about America being systemic racist, well, Colin Powell contradicts that totally, because this is, as I say, a man who came out of nowhere to achieve the highest military ranking in the United States and become Secretary of State as well. So rest in peace, Colin Powell. I think he did well, and his family should be very proud of him. Thank you for watching, and if today is your birthday, happy birthday. Bye-bye, everybody.